Unit 9. Organ transplantation. Organ transplantation is a medical procedure in which an organ is removed from one body and placed in the body of recipient to replace a damaged or missed organ. Transplantation raises a number of bioethics issues, including the definition of death, when the how consent should be given per organ to be transplanted, and the payment per organ per transplantation. Other ethical issues include transplantation tourism, and more broadly, the socio-economic contexts in which organ procurement or transplantation may occur. A particular problem is organ trafficking. Transplantation medicine is one of the most challenging and complex areas of modern medicine. Some of the key areas for medicine management are the problems of transplant rejection, during which the body has an immune response to the transplanted organ, possibly leading to transplant failure and need to immediately remove the organ from the recipient. When possible, transplant rejection can be reduced through stereotyping to determine the most appropriate donor-efficient match and through the use of immunosuppressant. Cancer rate doubles in transplant recipients. Organ transplant recipients have a much greater risk of cancer than the general population, according to new study, but the reason is not entirely clear. Cancer growth is often triggered by viruses, and the body's human system helps keep those viruses in check. But transplant recipients get proper drugs to suppress their immune system so that they don't reject the transplanted organ. Researchers have known that transplant recipients are more likely to get cancer, but this new study published in JAMA show how much more likely. Lead author Eric Engels of the U.S. Natural Cancer Institute says getting an organ transplant can double their risk of cancer during the year after transplant. Organ trade is trade of human organ, tissues, or other body parts for the purpose of transplantation. There is a global list of demands per health body part for transplantation, for exceeding the number available. As of 2011, about 19,000 people were reported to be waiting for a new organ in the United States. On average, an individual will wait 3.5 years for an organ to become available for transplant. There is a worldwide shortage of organs available for transplantation, which spurs illegal organ trafficking. Trade in human organs is illegal in many jurisdictions for various reasons. Though organ trafficking is widespread, as is transplanting tourism, The data on the expand of black market is difficult to obtain. The question of whether to legalize and regulate the organ trade to combat illegal trafficking and organ shortage is hotly debated. Ethics of organ transplantation. Organ harvesting from live people is one of the most frequently discussed debate topic in organ transplantation. The Worldwide Organization argued that transplantation promoted health, but the notion of transplantation tourism has the potential to violate human rights or exploit the poor, to have unintended health consequences, and to provide unequal access to services, all of which ultimately may cause harm. Thus, WHO called for a ban in compensated organ transplantation and asked member states to protect the most vulnerable from transplant tourism and organ trade. There is also a powerful opposing view that trade in organs, if properly and effectively regulated to ensure that the seller is fully informed of all consequences of a donation, is mutually beneficial transaction. The question is made even more implicated by the fact that the irreversibly criterion for organ death cannot be adequately defined and can easily change with changing technology. As controversies in the boundary of life and death grow, the debate ensues on when the end of life care and start organ harvesting.